Hi students, welcome back to short video lectures on Unit 5, that is multivibrators and time-based generators. So in the last videos we have seen the 4 Ds. Those are: first one, define, that means the multivibrator definitions and the types of multivibrators and what are the other names of it and the applications. Next one is draw. That means we have seen the block diagrams, circuit diagrams, and waveforms. And next D is describe. Describe means here the circuit operation and the purpose of the circuit elements like coupling elements. And next one, in the last video we have derived an expression for time period, that is nothing but your derivation part. Now we are going to see the design part. Here design means nothing but the problems in which we are going to find out the component values, the circuit element values for given specifications. That is nothing but we are going to design an stable multivibrator with the given specified time period or frequency. Okay, so here I am representing the Vc1 and Vc2. We derived the expressions for T1 and T2, and these are the two waveforms. Here the key point is Vc1 and Vc2 are both are complement to each other, and these two waveforms are rectangular waves. So here we derived capital T1 that equal to small t1. I think you remember this small t1 and t2. These are the time instances we consider while doing the derivation. So capital T1 is equal to 0.693 R1 C1. Capital T2 is equal to 0.693 R2 C2. Here capital T1 is the Q1 on time. Capital T2 is Q2 on time. That is state 2 time, and capital T1 is state 1 time. So here we derived capital T as 0.693 bracket of R1 C1 plus R2 C2. From the waveform itself, the total time period is nothing but capital T1 plus capital T2. And we also seen for symmetric stable multivibrator, these both capital T1 and T2, that means the state 1 and state 2 times are same. The both transistor will maintain the same time in saturation. So for symmetric stable multivibrator, as we discussed, the circuit components which are in the two parts, those are equal. That means R1 equal to R2 equal to R, and C1 is equal to C2 is equal to C. When this condition meets, then you can call that a stable multivibrator as a symmetric stable multivibrator. Of course, when R1 C1 product of R1 C1 equal to R2 C2, then also you can call that circuit as a symmetric stable multivibrator. So when you consider a symmetric stable multivibrator, capital T is nothing but T by 2 plus T by 2. That means here what I want to mention is both capital T1 and capital T2 both are same. When these two are same, each one is equal to the total time period by 2, and that is given by 1.386 into RC. So now let us enter into the problem number 1. For the stable multivibrator, R1 equal to R2 equal to 47 kilo ohm, C1 equal to C2 equal to 0.01 microfarad. Then find the time period and frequency. So first, whenever you have a problem, try to write the given data. So when you extract the given data, then you will have some clear-cut idea what to do next. So here given data is R1 equal to R2 equal to 47 kilo ohm, C1 equal to C2 equal to 0.01 microfarad. So we need to find time period capital T and frequency. So from given data, we can understand that the given a stable multivibrator is a symmetric, because here both R1 R2 are having same value. Similarly, both C1 and C2 are having same value. That means R1 R2 equal to R and C1 C2 equal to C. That is the reason the given a stable multivibrator is a symmetric stable multivibrator. So these are the VC1 and VC2. So now these T1 and T2 both are same. Okay. So therefore T1 equal to T2 equal to T by 2, as I said. Capital T is given by 1.386 RC. Please, here you have to remember the equation, that is T1 equal or T2 equal to 0.693. That factor is common. The remaining term is the time constant. For T1 the time constant is R1C1. For T2 the time constant is R2C2. Okay. So whenever you have a symmetric condition, then total time period is given by 1.386 into RC. So now capital T is nothing but 1.386 into R. R value is 47 kilo ohm. 47 into K. So here you must represent the units, and C value is 0.01, that is micro. Whenever you have this kilo and micro, kilo means 10 to the power of 3, micro means 10 to the power of minus 6, then that will give the millisecond. Okay, then the value you are getting is 0.65142 millisecond. If you approximate or round to 2 decimal points, then this value is 0.65 millisecond. Now next question is, what is the frequency? So we know frequency is nothing but the reciprocal of time period, that means 1 by T. So 1 by 0.65 millisecond, this millisecond is in the denominator. When you take it into numerator, that will become kilo, that means 10 to the power of minus 3 will become 10 to the power of plus 3. So here we are going to find the frequency. The reciprocal of second is nothing but hertz. The reciprocal of milli is nothing but kilo. So kilohertz. Then 1 by 0.65 is nothing but 1.5384 kilohertz. Again, if you approximate to 2 decimal points, that is nothing but 1.54 kilohertz. So this is how you can find out the time period and frequency when you are given with R1, R2 and C1, C2 values. So here design means, actually here we are doing not designing part. When I say designing means, actually this capital T will be given. That means I want to generate a wave, a square wave. I could say square wave because here it is a symmetric wave, symmetric circuit. Actually the question should be design an stable multivibrator having 0.65 millisecond time period of square wave. Then you must start the procedure, that is from the given statement we need to generate a square wave. In order to generate square wave, you must consider a symmetric. In order to consider symmetric, R1 R2 must be same value and C1 C2 must be same value. Then R1 R2 equal to R, C1 C2 equal to C. So likewise you have to do reverse engineering. We will be seeing these kind of questions in future, in the next videos. So next question 2. Here also R1 value, R2 value is given, and C1 C2 equal to C, a common value is given, and we need to find out the total time period and duty cycle, and the frequency. So the given data is written and we need to find out capital T and frequency and duty cycle. So from the given data we can understand that the given stable multivibrator is an asymmetric circuit. Why you can call it as asymmetric? General stable multivibrator. Why? Because here even though C1 C2 are having same value, but R1 and R2 are maintaining different values. So that means there is no chance of the R1 C1 equal to R2 C2. So that means these values doesn't give the symmetric condition. When you can say circuit is symmetric, whenever this R1 C1 time constant equal to R2 C2, then you can call that circuit as a symmetric. But here that condition is not possible. In that case, you must consider T1 separately and T2 separately. From that values, you can calculate the total time period. So here capital T is written directly T1 plus T2. Okay, R1 R2 0.693 into C is taken common. Here also I substituted the values with units. Whenever you come across micro and K, that will give milli, and this is the value you are getting 0.3465. When you approximate to 2 decimals, 0.35. In order to find out frequency, calculate the frequency with the help of 1 by T. So as I said, 1 by millisecond will become kilohertz, and the value is 2.8571. If you approximate to 2 decimal points, 2.86 kilohertz. So now we got T and F. Now to calculate duty cycle, we need to find out the capital T1 and T2 individually. So here are the calculations for T1 and T2. Okay, so now the question is, what is the duty cycle? What is the equation for it? Duty cycle is nothing but, actually this duty cycle is defined for a given periodic rectangular wave. Okay, and here in order to find duty cycle, we must have this T1 and T2 value, of course this capital T value. So VC1 and VC2. So as I said, duty cycle is in order to calculate duty cycle, actually duty cycle is defined for rectangular wave. So in our astable multivibrator, we are having two astable multivibrators. One is VC1 and other is VC2, and these two are complement to each other. Now a rectangular wave is nothing but generation of a pulse width with a constant interval. Okay, continuously we are generating a pulse width with a constant interval. So here for VC1 we are generating a pulse width of T2 with an interval of capital T1. If you look at it, VC2 is also rectangular wave. I can say like this: in VC2 we are generating a pulse width of capital T1 with a constant time interval of T2. That means after every T2 times you are generating a T1 pulse width, whereas in VC1 after every capital T1 time interval you are generating a capital T2. So duty cycle is nothing but the ratio of the pulse width what you are generating to the total time period. So now for VC1 duty cycle is nothing but capital T2 by T1 plus T2. But here why? Because here when you look at VC1, the pulse width what you are generating is capital T2. So now if you substitute the values, you are getting 0.6. If I want to mention that duty cycle value, that ratio value in percentage, that is nothing but 60%. Similarly for VC2, we are generating a pulse width of T1. So that means you need to calculate T1 percentage with respect to total. Now you are getting obviously 40%. Obviously these two are complement to each other. If one duty cycle is 60%, the other wave must be 40%. So from this statement, from this analysis, from this understanding of duty cycle, you can say for square wave signal, the duty cycle is 50% because both T1 and T2 are same. Okay, in that case, you will be finding duty cycle as a 50%. So you practice with different T1 and T2, try to calculate duty cycles for various rectangular waves. So in the next videos, I will be explaining same designing problems with other conditions, with other designing parameters. And this is the day 5 one video, and we will be having more videos in this day 5. Okay, thank you. Happy learning.